So now let's talk about adding smart dimensions. So here I have this drawing, and as you can see we have two orthographic views where we can add the dimensions. If you want to add more views, well, you can definitely create a projected view and just make one for new dimension set. Now you should always add dimensions where feature is clear. For example, if you are adding dimension for holes, then select this feature. If you are adding dimensions for edges, then you should select this feature. Now the smart dimension tool is right here on the annotation command manager. So from this drop down, you can select smart dimension. Now this smart dimension is divided into two tabs. We have dim expert and auto dimension. For this example, I'll use dim expert. Now in the dim expert, we have the simple smart dimension, and then also we have a rapid dimensioning, which is on. I'll simply deactivate it for now. And then we have a dim expert feature that we'll discuss as well. But for now, I'll start with smart dimensioning. So with that selected, now select any feature and SolidWorks will add the relevant dimension. For example, if I click on this arc, it's going to add radius dimension. If I select a circle, it's going to add the diameter. And if I click on a line or maybe on two different lines, for example, if I click here and then here, it's going to add the distance dimension. Now, if you click here, you will basically get whole dimension or the whole call out, because this feature is created with whole. So here I'll select this, and now you can see this one. So this is M6 hole with machined threads. Also, if you want to add, let's say, angle, then you can select two edges which are angular, and then SolidWorks will add this angular dimension between those two edges. So that's what we call smart dimensioning, because it will automatically select the type of feature and add the relevant dimension. Now I'll press escape, and then I'll just delete all of these dimensions that we have added. And let's go to smart dimension again. And once again, let's start adding dimension, but this time I'll activate rapid dimensioning. Now with this rapid dimensioning selected, you will be able to add several dimensions. This is how it works. So here I'll start with maybe this feature right here, and then I'll now select this feature here. Now as soon as I select the feature, SolidWorks will show these two semicircles, and if I select any of these semicircles, the dimension will be placed on either side. If I click here, it's going to place it down. If I click here, it's going to place it up. And also the distance will be selected automatically, so it will just automatically add a gap that looks kind of okay on this kind of drawing. Now if I add one more dimension, for example, if I select this edge, and then if I select this one, and once again I select this semicircle half, it will add another one with a proper distance. Now we can repeat the same process. So here if I select this edge right about here, and then if I now select this edge, well, once again we have this semicircle, click, and there we are. So it will automatically place it at the appropriate gap. The same thing is true for the vertical direction. So no matter what direction you're choosing, it's just going to add it properly. Also, if you are adding dimension for circular feature like this one, it will show you quadrant, and you can select the quadrant side where you want to place it. So as you can see, when I'm moving on this quadrant, the size of extension line is small, but here it is large, because on this side, the extension line should be large to completely pass this view. So depending on the side where we have clear view of the dimension, it will just automatically add it. So that's the rapid dimensioning. Now let's talk about the dim expert feature of dimensioning, and for that I'll just cancel it, and once again I'll delete all the dimensions we have added so far. Again, I'll go to smart dimension, and here we have dim expert. Now select this, and this will give you more options here. Now here you can automatically add dimensions for a feature or several features. Well, the first thing here is datum. So you need to select the base point or the datum from which all the dimensions will be measured. So in this case, let's just select center of this hole as the datum. So I'll just click on this center right here, and the UCS will be placed right here. Now with this coordinate system placed on the datum, we are ready to select the feature. So now if I select a feature, for example, this hole, SolidWorks will add several dimensions. You just need to click OK here like that, and using all these dimensions, you can actually define the location of this hole as well as the hole dimensions. In a similar way, if you want to, well, dimension maybe let's say this hole, then select it. And not only that, it's going to add dimensions for several other holes, its location, and its complete hole callout as well here. So that's the Dim Expert feature. Now in this Dim Expert feature, I have selected baseline as the dimensioning scheme, and that's why all the dimensions are measured from that particular baseline which we selected. But you can also select chain scheme, and in that case the dimension will be added one after another. We will discuss more about baseline and chain dimensioning next. Also, we have the pattern scheme selected as linear, and hence the dimensions are linear. But if you want to just move it around in a circular or a polar direction, then you can select the polar dimensioning, and it's going to just spread it around in the polar direction. So with that, I'll click OK, and now you can still move these dimensions around to just place it properly inside the sheet, because as you can see, it's just going beyond the sheet, and that should not be the case in a real world drawing. So you can just move this entire view, and then you can also move these individual dimensions to place them properly.